Hey y'all, it's Brody, and today I'm here to show you a kind of embarrassingly big book haul. I think in this entire haul, I only paid maybe $10, and I am doing this as a thank you to everyone who sent me a book. Most of these came through in December for Christmas. A lot of them my mom sent me, some of them publishers sent me. I don't even know how many books I have to show you. Basically, I don't need to buy books for the rest of the year. I'm set. Y'all have set me for the rest of the year. Okay, so first we're gonna jump in on the books that my mom sent me for Christmas. First we have They Threw Us Away by Daniel Kraus. This is a middle grade novel, horror, I believe, about teddy bears that wake up in a landfill, realizing they've been thrown away by the children that they belong to, and now they have to go find them. Then we have A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. This, I believe, is a Hades and Persephone elf fairy retelling romance. Also, it's so pretty underneath. Like, I need to show you how gorgeous this book is underneath the dust jacket. Look at that shit. So pretty. Also, it's like very well made. It feels like a nice, sturdy book. Then we have Pokenatomy. This is my pride and joy of my collection. It is an unofficial guide by Christopher Stoll, and if you're a Pokemon person like I am, you would appreciate this. It's like Christopher Stoll has gone through every Pokemon from the original 151, made like those kinds of drawings for the Pokemon, and then come up with like scientific stuff about all of them. Isn't that cool? I'm very excited for that one. That one it's so gorgeous, and every time I look at it, I get a little emotional. We have Harvest Home by Thomas Tryon. This is a horror novel about a cult of witches, and the reason that this one has come into my collection is because my father, my whole family grew up watching horror movies. Like, that's what we did together. This is the only film that's ever scared my father. And whenever I found out that there was a book about it, because the film is impossible to find now, like, it's gone. I've looked everywhere, and I cannot find Harvest Home anywhere at all to watch. But I figured reading the book would be the next best thing. And then we have 4 non-fictions, which were pleasant surprises, because I wanted to do a vlog. 2020, I was supposed to go back home and visit my family. And while I was there, I wanted to do a vlog of my hometown and then like reading books that had to do with my hometown, if that makes sense. So you're about to find out where I'm from. I grew up in a town near Scottsboro, Alabama, and I have 2 books about the Scottsboro Boys, which, if you don't know, is a very sad, very, very sad, racist, true crime thing that happened, where a group of black boys were accused of raping a white woman. I wanted to do a video discussing things that have happened there, while showing everyone like the landmarks and stuff, but COVID-19 unfortunately meant I couldn't do that, so maybe I'm hoping for 2022 that I get to go back home and visit my family and do this. This one is by David Aretha, and this one is by James Haskins. And I have 2 more books that were for that video. We have The Serpent and the Spirit, Glenn Summerford's story by Thomas Burton, and then Salvation on Sand Mountain by Dennis Covington. This is another true crime story that I'm related to the guy that got arrested. They in their religious practices, they handled snakes, and the preacher tried to kill his wife and make it look like a suicide, because with Pentecostalism, if the snake bites you and you die, your faith's not strong enough. And yeah, I'm related to him distantly. Like, everyone's related out there, but like, we're still related. My family tree is a bush. So that's it for books that my mom sent me. Now I'm going to show you the comic book that Will got me for Christmas, and that is Marvel's Indigenous Voices. This is a comic collection with Rebecca Roanhorse, Darcy Little Badger, and Stephen Graham Jones, who have all taken Indigenous characters in the Marvel Universe and written their own stories. So excited to read this. Terrifying. I've taken it out of the plastic once. I'm so scared to take it out of the plastic. I have 6 poetry collections that were sent to me by Poet's Choice, which is a publishing house in India. So thank you to Poet's Choice for sending me these. We have Mr. Daydream by Diana Willand, and it's about mental health, depression, and maladaptive daydreaming. Then we have To the Newspaper, Epigraph on a Coin. This is a poetry collection, once again, by Poet's Choice, that I believe all have to do with newspapers and like obituary pages and yeah, stuff like that. Then we have Jumbled Part 2. I have not read Jumbled Part 1. We have Suicides and Murders, which is about suicides and murders. A Futile Attempt at Delaying the Inevitable, which sounds like every day of my life, by Adam Webb. This is what I'm most excited for, and it is called Corona Global Lockdown. Before we start the meme jokes, this is a poetry collection from poets talking about their experiences dealing with the COVID-19 lockdown and what it's like been in quarantine. The entire time I was working the front lines, I was kind of jealous of people who got to stay home. So I am very interested in reading this and seeing what it's like from the other side. I have 5 books that were sent to me from Tin House. I did an unboxing for all of these, which I will leave linked upstairs for you to go check out. But we have The House on Vesper Sands, which came out in January. This is a Victorian murder mystery. We have White Magic. This one comes out in April, and this is about an indigenous witch. It's a nonfiction memoir, and the issues that come with being an indigenous witch and having your culture appropriated by big companies who want to seem like edgy and aesthetic. Then we have more poetry. We have 3 poetry collections by Tommy Pica. We have Nature Poem, Feed, and Junk. We have 3 books that were sent to me via Sourcebooks. We have Yesterday is History by Kosoko Jackson. This one is a science, like, light sci-fi story about a boy who gets a heart transplant, and he goes back in time, back and forth between, like, current day and then, like, the 1960s. We have Bedazzled by Ryan LaSala, which is a queer cosplay second chance romance. I read Ryan's debut, Reverie, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to see what Ryan does in a real-world setting. Then we have The Obsession by Jesse Q. Subtanto, and this is a YA thriller. Boy meets girl, boy stalks girl, girl gets revenge. I know you don't know my coworkers. I wish I could do a video where I talk about my coworkers because we're fucking great. And Kim got me a gift card because she got my Secret Santa. Also, Kim did a cute little scavenger hunt for my Secret Santa, and it ended up leading to a gift card for Barnes & Noble. So of course I got myself some things from Barnes & Noble. I got Cracked Up to Be by Courtney Summers. This is about a girl who is, like, perfect, right? She's like straight A student, cheerleader, she's perfect. And then something bad happens at a party and her life is just cracked apart. Then we have The Henna Wars by Adiba Jagadar, and this is a sapphic YA romance about 2 girls who run rival henna businesses for the business competition at their high school, and deals with cultural appropriation and romance, and I'm just excited for it. I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about this. Then we have Note to Self by Connor Franta. This is poetry and essays by the YouTuber Connor Franta. Connor Franta is my one early 2010 YouTube crushes that still remains. We're getting, I'm very close to the camera. Now we're getting into books that y'all sent me for Christmas, or just to be nice, and I'm gonna start with the ones that don't have notes because I can't properly say thank you, so either these don't have notes or they were not signed. So if you sent me one of these, please let me know so I can say that. We have Moonshot Volume 2, the Indigenous Comics Collection. I read Part 1 of Moonshot during Indigathon, and I really enjoyed it. Art. The Moonshot series is just Indigenous voices, Indigenous authors, Indigenous illustrators coming together to share stories from their culture. Then we have Post-Colonial Love Poems by Natalia Diaz, which I've already read and I really loved. It's being an Indigenous person in today's society and sapphic relationship. Then we have Fry Bread, which is one of the cutest picture books ever, and it just talks about fry bread. Talks about fry bread. That's it. It's so cute and so sweet. See, wholesome content for you. Also, naked. Gorgeous. We have The Red Sisters by Thompson Highway. This is a play about 7 women who are trying to beat the odds in their reservation, and they're playing bingo, and I've heard it's phenomenal. I'm very excited to read it. I read some Drew Hayden Taylor plays last year and I really enjoyed them, so I'm excited to read more Indigenous plays. I was such a big, like, theater nerd, even though we didn't have a theater program at my school. So anytime I get a hold of a play, I'm always like, yay! There's like a little part of me that's like, woohoo! Then we have The Burial Grounds by David A. Robertson. This is an Indigenous middle grade. It's like a portal fantasy where these 2 kids get sucked into this world. Once they are sucked into this world, they kind of get adopted into this community, but food becomes scarce, so they have to go on a journey across this, like, wintry land to save the day. When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. I talked about this in my last video that I will be reading it for February for a couple of different readathons. This was sent to me by Teresa. This is a thriller about gentrification in New York. We have Lovecraft Country by Matt Ruff, which was sent to me by Taylor from Page Screen Tay. And this is a short story anthology collection, but they all tie together, so it's like a story made of short stories. And it's takes place in the 1950s, and it's about a man named Atticus who is traveling through white America and dealing with all of the horrors that come with being a black man in the 1950s, and then also, like, malevolent spirits of, like, H.P. Lovecraft lore. Probably more familiar with the TV show, but I heard that it is very different from the TV show. So Will and I watched the TV show and loved it, so I'm excited to see how I feel about the book. Then we have The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. I am very, 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 very excited for this one. This one was sent to me by Amber, whose channel I will link down below, so make sure you go check her out. Also, Amber has a candle company, so, like, I will link her candle company downstairs as well, so go support my friend. It essentially follows a woman who realizes that she has dark powers, but she's living in this like Puritan society. And we have Blood and Vinyl by Ignacio R. Limon, who, Iggy, if you're on book Twitter, you know Iggy. Iggy is like the #1 hype person for everyone on book Twitter. First thing I noticed whenever I open this book, you have a table of contents, a letter of intent, and content warnings. Can we give Iggy a round of applause? From what I know about this book, it's a paranormal urban fantasy story set in the 90s, and it involves like feuding gangs of like witches and vampires and monsters. Then we have Verona Comics by Jennifer Dugan. I loved Hot Dog Girl by Jennifer Dugan. You've probably seen me yelling about Hot Dog Girl on Twitter. This was sent to me by Chris from Vigilante Reads. Thank you, Chris. And this is about two teenagers who realize that their families are rivals in the comic industry. Verona Comics. Forbidden enemy families. No one's talking about the fact that this is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, and it's very distressing to me. Then we have The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Sterling, which was sent to me by Sarah over at Strange Main Books. Thank you so much for sending this to me. I'm so excited. This is a sapphic, subterranean, I believe, space horror novel. Expedition, missing supplies, unexpected changes. Paranoia, anger, deadly place, darkness and the unknown, dangerous terrain, and the tunneler that calls the underground its home. Spooky gay people. We have Tribal Screams by Owl Going Back, which was sent to me by Shane Hawk. If you don't know, Shane Hawk is the author of Anoka, which I read and really enjoyed. I mentioned it in my Read by Daylight book recommendations video, which I will link upstairs. And this is just a short story collection by Owl Going Back, who is one of the most prolific indigenous horror authors of all time. Then we have Frankenstein in Baghdad by Ahmed Sadawi. This was sent to me by my friend Melita from the Midnight Librarian. I will leave her channel linked downstairs. Everyone I'm mentioning in this part, I will leave linked downstairs so you can go check out and follow them. Don't worry about that. This is a horror novel set in US-occupied Baghdad and deals with a doctor who is collecting body parts of the dead and trying to put them together into one person so that they will be formally recognized as a person and can receive proper burial rites. But then the corpse goes missing and murders start happening in the city, and you can tell this is a Frankenstein story. Oh, Melita also sent me this Bulbasaur Funko Pop. We love the green here. Then we have Talk to Me, an anthology of Arctic horror stories, which was sent to me by Luana. Thank you so much. And I believe that this is just multiple different authors telling their horror stories that take place in the Arctic. So it mentions on the back of the book different stories. A family clinging to survival out on the tundra after a vicious zombie virus. A door that beckons waiting to unleash the terror behind it. Post-apocalyptic community in the far north. Why things aren't quite what they seem. Very excited for this. You know I love me some indigenous horror, and I'm so glad that I got so much of it for Christmas this year. We have The Night Wanderer, a native gothic novel by Drew Hayden Taylor. Look at how spooky this book is. Look at how spooky. This deals with 16-year-old Tiffany, who lives with her father in the woods around Otter Lake, and there are spooky stories that surround Otter Lake. And then they take in a man for lodging, and then spooky things start happening. Please let me know who you are so I can thank you. Then Katrina sent me The Shape of Water by Daniel Kraus and Guillermo del Toro. This is, if you're not familiar with the movie, a romance story, interspecies romance story about a woman who works as a janitor at this like government institution and a fish person man god thing who has been taken in for study. It's also, I believe, a historical science fiction, which are two things I don't read a whole lot of, but I'm down for it. I have this one planned for a Read by Daylight video. I'm very excited to read it, and I also want to watch the movie because I've never seen the movie. And Garen from Reads Guaranteed sent me Gods Behaving Badly by Marie Phillips. This is a novel about the Greek gods living in modern-day London. After a minor squabble between Apollo and Aphrodite goes bigger, two humans named Alice and Neil have to help straighten everything out and save the day. Then we have Kogawaya the Half-Blood by Morning Dove. This is one of the first novels, if not the first novel, ever published by an indigenous woman. This is published in 1927, and it is a story about a biracial girl who is caught between the two worlds, between being indigenous and being white. And it says in the back, and this is what makes me really interested in it, it says, in its language, it shows a self-taught writer attempting to come to terms with the rift between formal written style and the comfortable rhythm and slang of familiar speech. Very, very excited for this one. Also, this was sent to me by Kai, so thank you, Kai, for sending this to me. Last but not least, by any means, we have Moonshot Volume 3, which means I finally own the entire Moonshot collection thanks to y'all. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I finally owned all 3 books. I didn't even think I was going to be able to get 1 book, and now I have all 3. It was sent to me by Kirsten Wallace. Like I said, this is just a continuation of Moonshot Volume 2 that I mentioned earlier. Native stories, native authors, native illustrators. Art. Alright, so that's all I have for you today. If you sent me a book, thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. Like I said, I don't have to buy books for the rest of the year probably now. I really appreciate it so much. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you did not, then give it a thumbs down, because either way it helps me with engagement. If you've read any of these books, let me know your thoughts about them down on the comments, and if you want to read any of these books, let me know, because I am planning on doing some buddy reads this year, so let's set that up downstairs. Comment question of the day. If I were to do any dedicated reading vlogs for any of these books, what would you be most interested in? I think I want to do like the Read by Daylight ones, obviously, but like a poetry reading vlog, and then an Indigenous horror reading vlog. So let me know what you would like to see down in the comments. And while you're down there, you can subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified every time I upload, as well as following me on all of my social medias, which are in the link tree at the top of my description. Just click that. You can follow me around the internet on my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Goodreads. And there are also places to support me further if you so choose, like my PayPal, my Ko-fi, and my Amazon wishlist. If you want to buy me a book, not that you would need to, because so many people just did that, and it was so nice of them. If you want to, it's there. I'll show it off on the channel. I'll give you a shout out, and I'll say, as I said, everyone I mentioned today will be linked downstairs as well, so make sure you go check those out. It does take me a little bit of time sometimes to put proper working links there, so just always be checking the descriptions of my videos. Come back and check later if it's not there whenever this goes live. Alright, that's all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful, whatever it is, wherever you are. I will see you next time with another video. Thank you for watching. Okay, cool. Bye. Oh, another thing too. No. Ow.